This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code GOLF SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing CFB and NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial now by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. The world is not great right now. These floods are taking over. So Hurricane Helene, and now we have another one coming to where I am in Florida. Not exactly where I am. I don't want to say that, but in Florida has been devastating. So SGPN is teaming up with local charity mountainprojects.org to help give back. Their biggest donation will get a guest spot in the CFP Pick Show and a ton of gear. So go to mountainprojects.org and hit flood support to help out today. And finally, thanks as always for tuning into the Golf Gambling Podcast, especially in weeks like this. So if you can head over to Spotify and please give us a 5-star review. Only you can prevent corporate gambling from taking over. The little dogs like us really do appreciate your help. But we are here, the Black Desert DFS Championship. Let's call it that, the Black Desert DFS Championship. We are here, a new golf course and a very interesting golf course. So we don't know much about the course, but we do know that it is a resort course at elevation equals birdies. I believe this is going to be an absolute birdie fest, and you have to go with one narrative. And if everyone's going towards, I haven't really heard much. I don't really like to do too much of content before I do my stuff because I like to go in with only with what my mind's thinking. It's done me well thus far, so I'm just going to keep going with that strategy. But I'm believing how the course is going to play birdie fest. I'm thinking like TPC Summerlin, PGA West, shorter Western elevation, Mayakoba, comps like that. You don't need to be long off the tee because the golf course, I think it's 7,400 yards around that. But if it's at 3,000 feet, it's going to play around 7,000 feet, something like that. So it's not overly long at all. Resort course, it opened I think within 2 years from now. So the greens are going to be pure. It's going to be a birdie fest, a pure birdie fest. Hit the fairway, roll a ton of putts with middle irons and wedges. So from there, we're going to see how golfers have been playing recently, have been played in birdie fest in a longer baseline. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. And who leads us off? Anyone else but Killa, Keith Mitchell, Seamus Power, Kurt Kitayama, and Bo Hosser, the 4 names in the 10K range. And last week, I thought Keith Mitchell was a great play in DFS. I thought he was an absurd bet, and it almost paid off if you did pull the trigger. But I thought he was a good play, just because I thought his floor was so high in that field at the Sanderson Farms. And while that still remains true, I think it's a bit lower because, one, I don't think Keith Mitchell is going to go back-to-back T3s or third place, and 2, I think there's going to be a little bit more. I think it's going to be a little bit more wide open than it was last week because the Bombers really got away with just sending it off the tee last week after you stayed somewhat in the fairway and rough. With here, you can get into more trouble. There's going to be some like desert golf. You miss wide, you're going to be behind a cactus, you're going to be behind a rock. So I think there's going to be more trouble with just sending it off the tee. I really want guys who are going to play from the fairway and then make birdies from there. So I don't love Keith Mitchell as much as I did last week. So let's talk a little bit about Seamus Power and the guys below. Seamus Power, he finished T11 last week, gained in all 4 categories, and you can't really ask for much more than that. He gained 7.5 strokes total, gained over 4.5 ball striking. So that was a really good week for Seamus Power. That one of the most complete weeks he's had in a while. But he's a complete golfer who can do it in these birdie fests. So I definitely would give him a nod and definitely give him a look this week. I really do like Kurt Kitayama. Looking at the way he ended his season last year was really, really, really strong. He gained 7 and 6 on approach in 2 of his last 3 starts. One of them was Royal Troon, so that was a long time ago, and he hasn't played since Sedgefield. So take it with a grain of salt. I probably prefer. I think Kurt Kitayama is a better bet than he is a DFS play. I'd go with Power, and then Bo Hosser. I almost bet him last week, and I was really upset that I didn't, and I bet him live, and it didn't go well, obviously. But he had a great week. He gained across the board for the first time in a really, really long time, and he had his best approach week since the Rocket Mortgage, but he's had his best approach week in a long time. He's not a guy who really gains 3+ on approach. So shout out Bo. I wouldn't bank on him to do it again. So I would rank this 10K range: 1, Seamus Power; 2, Keith Mitchell; 3, Kurt; and 4, Bo in the 10K range. Let's talk about the 9K range a little bit. We got Eric Van Rooyen, Chris Kirk, Patty Fish, Ben Griffin, Stephan Jaeger, Ryan Fox, Lucas Glover. So definitely a very interesting range. EVR leads us off, and I think the days are over where EVR is just like 8,300 in these weak fields and you just play them and you bet him no matter what. Now he's kind of priced up to where he should be, and we know that he's not just an automatic T5 in these events, but he's probably a good bet when he's 40-1 and when he's $8,300, stuff like that. Now he's priced up. I think it's a bit too high. Chris Kirk, like there's no reason for him to be below Eric Van Rooyen. He just hasn't played in a while. He hasn't played since the Tour Championship, but had a good finish to the season. If you're looking for a birdie maker who can make birdies with middle irons and wedges and hit fairways, Chris Kirk can surely do that. Patrick Fishburne continues to have good strokes gains metrics, and he's going to be giga chalk this week, home game. He definitely wants it. He definitely really does want it, but I'm going to have to fade the chalk Pat Fishburne. I really don't love this course fit for him. I like some other Utah guys better, which I will get to below. Ryan Fox, he probably will shoot one of the rounds of the week this week. I think Ryan Fox is good for a comfy 63. He played so well last week. He gained like 7 ball striking, 4 putting, and lost 4 around the greens. If he's neutral around the greens, he probably wins the golf tournament last week. He was absurdly bad on the par 5s last week. By bad, I mean like chipping and putting around the green. I mean, we're getting questions in the chat about Justin Suh's Utah Championship, comparing it to the Black D. I think you need to do your own show because 125 Kevin Yu is pretty damn impressive from Ryan Kellogg in the chat. Yeah, I wish I saw. Should have been on that, dude. No, I shouldn't have been on that, but like we should have talked about it is what I'm saying. So, I mean, yeah, but back to the question. Everyone knows that what you did at the 2022 Utah Championship translates to the Black D. So I'm gonna confirm and say yeah. And then finally, Lucas Glover in this 9K range. It's the guy who's kind of hot with the putter right now. And when he gets hot with the putter, he stays hot with the putter for like a month at a time. We knew he was going to hit all the fairways. We knew he was going to hit a ton of shots to 20 feet. It's just a matter of can Lucas Glover make those putts? And he's now gained over 8 strokes putting in his last 2 events to start the season. Yeah, what's not to like about Glover? When he gets hot, he gets hot. I probably would say he's a much better DFS play than he is a bet. So I could definitely see him in the 9K range. Oh, Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin, like I said last week, you play Ben Griffin on Bermuda. Didn't really touch contention. Didn't have the greatest week ever because he lost about 4 strokes ball striking for 2 straight events. He gained around the green, gained putting. You got to see Ben Griffin hitting fairways and gaining an approach for him to be a play in my book. So I missed Stephan Jaeger too. I don't know how I missed these guys, but Stephan Jaeger, I really don't love. I thought I would like him more. He had a good, talking about a guy who played well in the 2022 Korn Ferry Tour. Stephan Jaeger almost won the Colorado Championship or whatever that Colorado event is at Elevation. A few years ago, Will Zalatoris won that event. But Jaeger has been squandering strokes on approach. I don't believe this is the best driver putter golf course. So in the 9K range, I would say I really like Chris Kirk. I think he's underpriced. And then Lucas Glover, probably my 2 plays down there. Let's talk about this 8K range. Before we get to the 8K range, really quickly, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus, for all sports: NFL, college, MLB, MMA, WNBA. I know Ryan Kellogg's a big WNBA fan. He's a California guy, so NASCAR and more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts. You can now use special boosts and on all flex entries. I'm going to be making my picks over on SGPN Thursday or Wednesday through Saturday, so check out their website. Promo code GOLF SGPN to claim your special pick plus first deposit offer up to $1,000. Underdog Fantasy, promo code GOLF SGPN. We're also brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. BetUS has been around for 30 plus years. Easily deposit using crypto and get lightning fast payouts. U.S. players are welcome from wherever you are in the country. Sign up and deposit $100, and you have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. Did not expect to read that on the ad sheet. So I'm going to be making some of my outright bets on the bet at BetUS. So tune in for the outright card later in the week. Use our link and get up to $125 deposit bonus on your first 3 deposit. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/betus. Okay, 8K range. Let me scroll down the screen just a tad. We got the 8K range, and Mikey T, Chan Kim leads us off all the way down to Matty M, Matt McCarty. Kevin Yu's out, sadly. Kevin Yu, what a guy. So 8K range. Chan Kim, I played him last week, and he's just a striper. Puts on an absolute ball striking display more times than not, although he had his worst approach week of his career last week, which is, of course, he has his worst approach week of his career when I pick him, because why else would that happen? But he's a guy who gains on approach more times than not, so I would expect that to really bounce back in the right direction for Chan Kim. Then right below him, Michael Thorbjornsen, a guy who is also losing on approach, but I just love that he's so good with the driver. He's going to give himself a ton of wedges, and I think he's going to play really good golf. So that's Michael Thorbjornsen, $8,800. Emiliano Grillo, a golfer who I believe was underpriced last week and played some fine golf. And he's probably underpriced this week. So why not go to Emiliano Grillo, who finished T11 last week, gained 5 plus strokes putting, and gained 2 on approach. That's the formula for success this week. I'm definitely down. Patrick Rogers right below him. I was about to play him last week, but I was off him on the last second, and it paid off for me because he missed the cut at the Sanderson Farms Championship. Shout out Patrick Rogers. He just didn't do anything well, lost like 2.5 strokes around the green, and he missed the cut. JJ Spawn is back. I believe that he would not be playing if he wasn't healthy. So good to see old JJ back because he's putting on an absolute approach display the last few months, but he did lose strokes on approach in the round that he played last week. Right below him, Harris English is back. I think he's too good of a golfer to miss the cut at the Procore, the Sanderson, and the Utah, whatever you want to call it, the Black Desert. So I think Harris English is a great play with high upside at 7%. Definitely down for him. Andrew Novak and Adam Svensson round out the 8K range, and Matt McCarty, obviously. Matt McCarty, maybe a ball striking bastard because he he was really good the first round, and then he just went backwards, finished T63. I'm good off of him. I would pick. Also, I want to talk about Harry Hall really quickly because he's been playing on the DP World Tour, has 2 T20s in 2 trips on the DP World Tour, and they weren't horrible fields. It was Wentworth and the British Masters. Those are not horrible fields by any means. He's just such a good putter, which is important here, and a good wedge player. He's also out of Vegas, so I like Harry Hall to make some noise. PGA Tour winner, by the way. So 8K range, I really like Thorbjornsen, Harry Hall, and Harris English. Those are my 8K guys. Let's get into the 7K range. I worry that golfer like Daniel Berger will be chalky after he had one good week on Bermuda, on an easy Bermuda golf course, which is kind of his jam. This doesn't really scream Daniel Berger, this style of golf, so I'll probably take a backseat to Berger this week. Doug Gim at the top of the range. He finished T33 last week, T47 the week before that, and he did what Doug Gim does. He gained about 3 strokes ball striking last week. He gained about 4.5 strokes ball striking at the Procore, and he lost strokes on the putting greens. That's what you're going to get from Doug Gim. It's a pretty safe play. You know you're going to get that T20 to T40 finish with that upside of T10. So, I trust Doug Gim to make the cut, and then hopefully something heats up with the putter. Matty Schmidt, a golfer who just continues to mint good ball striking performances, and he gained across the board last week. He finished T16, and he hasn't missed a cut since the Scottish Open, playing on both tours. So Matty Schmidt, another safe play. I'm not going to go through every golfer in this 7K range, but Alex Smalley, what a week he had. I wouldn't bank on him to do it in back-to-back weeks because he is a Bermuda guy. but he did gain 8.5 strokes ball striking. And when Alex Smalley's going, he is striping it. I definitely like Max McGreevy at $7,500, a golfer who used to be on the PGA Tour, went to the Korn Ferry Tour, won, got his card. He's back, and he's finished inside the T7 3 of his last 5 starts on the Korn Ferry Tour. And this is a glorified Korn Ferry event. He has the mindset of, I'm going to make birdies. I'm going to keep the pedal down after playing on the Korn Ferry Tour for a full year. So why not run with Max McGreevy, a golfer who knows how to make birdies, and he's found some confidence this past calendar year. Down from him, Bud Cauley played really well last week. He gained across the board. I would not bank on him doing that again because he hasn't done that a ton in his career. Zach Blair, he is my pick for the low Utah market. I am picking Zach Blair plus 280 to be the low utopian. So he's a golfer who's going to hit fairways, and I trust him with his middle irons and short irons to make some birdies. I like him more than Fishburne and more than Quest. David Skins got off to the really hot start on Thursday afternoon and ended up finishing T37, losing a whopping 6.5 strokes off the tee. He just went backwards after gaining all of it putting in round 1. So shout out David Skins for that comfy T37 finish. Austin Smotherman, you want to talk about a guy who hit his golf ball well last week? That's what Austin Smotherman did. He gained just under 10 strokes ball striking at the Country Club of Jackson, which has to be the best ball striking performance of his career. He did lose almost 7 of it on the putting green, so that's not really the best case for Austin Smotherman, but he is a good putter more times than not. I think this is definitely a golf course for a guy like Alexander Bjork to hit fairways and then just get hot with the wedges. He hasn't been playing great golf. He hasn't played in the PGA Tour in the States since the Myrtle Beach Classic, which is a long, long time ago. But I do think this is a spot for Bjork to play well. So I'm not going to go through every name in the 6K range, but I'm going to give you a few names that I like before we do our whole show on the 6K range, which is going to come later tonight, most likely. Lee Hodges. Lee Hodges, $6,800. He finished T48 last week, and he gained 5.7 strokes on approach. That was his second best approach week of 2024, and he lost 2.6 putting. He's not a bad putter by any means, and he's had one of his best approach weeks. And Lee Hodges is a winner who could definitely make it happen. So also 6K range, Carl Yuan, I like. He's kind of gotten that boost. He's down. He used to be down around 61, 62. And although he missed the cut, he's getting a price increase, which is crazy. Shout out DraftKings for being sharp, because I do like him to just be super aggressive at a really, really easy golf course. So the rest of the 6K plays will come later. I wanted to run through the quick DFS plays real quick and give you my quick thoughts on the golf course. So hope you enjoy. Thank you for supporting. I am definitely ready to get to 2025 and make this the best year yet. So again, you know where to find me. More content coming up soon. Peace out.